Money work. El mundo quiere dinero. Money work. Se arregla con dinero. Money work. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar, un lugar para trabajar, y si no hay para emigrar. Todo money, money, todo el.
Yeah. All right. Shit. I just wanted to get into this because we really have I don't know, we're in some crazy ass times, really. And with the mass shootings and everything that's going on, you have what just happened in Texas. And we'll get into this news clip, and then I'm kind of going to give my reaction, how I feel, and just kind of the way I see things could possibly work out, or maybe things could change for the better. I don't know, but this is a crazy situation, so let's get into that. Hold on.
School shooting at an elementary school left at least 19 children and 2 adults dead.
My heart was broken today. We're a small community, and we will need your prayers to get us through this.
An 18-year-old gunman drove to Robb Elementary School around midday Tuesday. He crashed his vehicle in a ditch nearby and ran toward the building, weapons in hand.
There was several law enforcement that engaged the suspect, but he was able to make entry into the school, where he did go into several classrooms, and unfortunately he did fire his firearm.
Texas State Senator Roland Gutierrez says the shooter, quote, had no problem legally purchasing the assault-style rifles used in the massacre.
He went to high school here in Uvalde, and unfortunately, on his 18th birthday, he bought those 2 assault rifles that you've been talking about. And they are assault rifles. It's the first thing he did when he turned 18.
The FBI and ATF are assisting local authorities with the investigation. Area hospitals were treating at least 20 patients. Customs and Border Protection, the largest law enforcement agency in the area, dispatched more than 20 agents to the shooting. The shooter was apprehended, but later pronounced dead.
He himself is deceased and is believed that responding officers killed him. It appears that 2 responding officers were struck by rounds, but have no serious injuries. What happened in Uvalde is a horrific tragedy that cannot be tolerated in the state of Texas.
The shooter is also believed to have shot his grandmother first.
What I do know is that this young man shot his grandmother and then fled that scene. The grandmother is still holding on, that she was airlifted to San Antonio.
As the predominantly Hispanic city of about 15,000 comes to terms with the attack, the school district's chief of police ruled out any other suspects in the shooting.
And we are not actively looking for another individual or any other suspects in this case. We definitely ask you all to keep the families that are involved in your prayers.
For the second time in fewer than 10 days, President Joe Biden addressed the nation after a mass shooting.
I am sick and tired of it. Why are we willing to live with this carnage? Why do we keep letting this happen? Where in God's name is our backbone?
Biden calling for action and demanding lawmakers stand up to the gun lobby as another community is added to the list of sites of mass shootings in the United States. There have been 30 shootings at K-12 schools so far in 2022. The Uvalde shooting makes it the worst attack on an American school since the Sandy Hook massacre in Connecticut in 2012 that left 20 children and 6 adults dead. A senator from that state, Democrat Chris Murphy, begged his colleagues to help pass gun safety laws.
Our kids are living in fear every single time they set foot in a classroom because they think they're going to be next. What are we doing? Why do you spend all this time running for the United States Senate? Why do you go through all the hassle of getting this job of putting yourself in a position of authority. If your answer is that as this slaughter increases, as our kids run for their lives, we do nothing.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the gist of it, and I wasn't gonna hold everybody up too long. Shout out to America's Most Wanted. I see you, appreciate y'all stopping through, but man, it's just a wild situation. On one end, my heart goes out to to all the victims, the people that were lost. It's really fucking wild. It's almost just hard to kind of even fathom, because when you're talking about children, it kind of just makes you it kind of takes you back a little bit, and it kind of just makes you think like, damn, we really got some messed up people in this world. But with situations like this, instead of figuring out a way to really rectify these situations, it always turns political. And that's the thing that gets me most out of this, is that when this happens, all of a sudden every time it goes straight to Biden's agenda for gun control. And this idea that somehow we need less guns and that's going to stop it, or I don't know. I just really want to say, really, it's bullshit. There's not a gun control issue. Like, we have some real fucked up people in this world, and it doesn't matter what you do, these type of people are going to exist. You can't stop this shit. And we've seen it on other occasions. If they're not using guns, they'll use bombs that can't nobody figure out. You remember the Unabomber and different shit like that. If they can't use bombs, they'll throw vehicles in the buildings full of people or full of children or whatever. It doesn't really matter. And so the thing that just gets me about this is that it always comes back to this issue about gun control. And ultimately, I think the thing is with gun control, that is a way for them to control us all. It's not about these few little instances, because really, if you want to address the issue in these instances, all these mass shooters and serial bombers, 99% of the time, look alike. So that's another issue that we could address there. These crazy ass white boys. But really, they'll use these different issues to implement more control on all of us. And so really, yeah, people, y'all got to be aware of that shit. Like, it's the same conquer by fear mentality that they be on. They're constantly trying to get people and politicians to make rash decisions based off of fear. Not a gun control issue. It's a people problem. The people here are sick. The people here have maybe too much access or ease to be able to do this shit. And if you really want to know a real type of solution, to me, I think modern problems require modern solutions. And I say all teachers should be fucking armed, trained. Because ultimately what you have with mass shooters is they're nothing but psycho bullies. So the places that these mass shootings are happening are places where most likely the shooter knows that they're not going to get a response back because the arms are down. So less guns would actually increase this type of shit happening. You can look at different, maybe even, I don't know, comic book examples. Like when you see like how the worst cities are, like when they have these strict gun laws and everything like that, like it may bring down the violence in a sense like this with the guns, but it's not going to overall stop these type of issues. It's not the guns, it's the damn people. And so if you guys keep allowing these motherfucking politicians and everything to use these different fear tactics to implement more control on you, man, before you know it, we'll have tanks rolling down our fucking streets, and then we'll really see what the hell the real issue is. It ain't about gun control. They don't give a damn about us. As Black people, we can speak for a fact that politicians, they don't give a fuck about us in general, to make all this big ass crying and pleading and everything for gun control as if that solves the issue. It doesn't. You want to solve the issue and calm shit down? Make sure everybody has a gun. Now we're looking at everything a little bit differently. If you knew that if you thought you was just gonna snap and do a mass shooting, but you probably knew most likely you would probably get riddled with fucking bullets before you really got your jollies off. I don't know. You may approach the mass shooting. I mean, that's just what I'm saying. It's easy to go to a school and just know and just assume like, oh, they're just innocent children. It's just teachers. There's no reaction. This will make a statement. Shit. Arm all them goddamn teachers and have them trained and see how a lot of these mass shootings go. And I notice a lot of this shit really only fucking happens when what type of politician is in office pushing this kind of agenda? You said it. Democrat. A lot of this shit almost seems set up. As if we just got a bunch of people just sitting around waiting. And we know how society works here. The lengths that the government will go to push these agendas and to get these laws passed. The agenda isn't gun control. The agenda is ultimately to control, or kind of to control and put us all in a place to where we can't defend ourselves. We have to depend on the government. You already see what the fuck they're doing with food shortages, with the formula shortages. It's all a play. And if y'all not smart, you guys are going to get ruled by fear, and it's going to cause you to make rash decisions where you should be thinking. Shout out to Scott Free, Tanae. Scott Free said we should regulate high capacity armed weapons like AR. And even that, I agree with that. I really don't think it should be that damn easy to get these weapons. They said dude was like 18. And so he goes off and, hey, for my 18th birthday, I'm just gonna go get 2 assault rifles. Like, I really don't think it should be that fucking easy. But ultimately, I just don't see where's the problem. Like, I'm a gun owner, and my guns don't do shit until I pull them out. It's the people. It's politics. It's the world. It's the society that we're in. It don't matter. You take everybody's guns away today. The people that do this type of shit, they're going to find a way to get guns. So that's never an issue. You implement more gun control, the only thing that does is really it has more of an effect maybe on somebody like me or people who are responsible with their weapons. The people that have these type of desires and they're ill-hearted like that, it doesn't stop anything. It makes us more sitting ducks. It really puts us in more of a position to even be victims. And not only victims to these situations, but victims to the government. Because I'm pretty sure that most people that own guns, you probably either wildly afraid of a fucking zombie apocalypse or you worried about the direction that this country is going in. Then you have like the small group, you get niggas that get guns and shit because they want to be able to combat other niggas. And, that's a whole nother fucking post video, whatever. Y'all get what I'm saying? Condolences to them, to the family, the children. They said that the grandma was still holding on because supposedly he had shot his grandma first. So, hopefully she pulls through and all that. But we can't let these different situations take off our focus, because you see what they did. By the end of the thing, you got politicians politicking agenda, and the real agenda is bigger than just, oh my God, take away their guns and shit. 'Cause I'm telling you, the average person and shit is not sitting around planning mass shootings with their weapons. Stop letting these politicians politic us at every damn turn. But yeah, I don't know. Before I get up out of here, I don't know if you guys have any suggestions y'all want to throw out, or even if you watch it back on the replay, you can throw out your suggestions. But that's mine. Arm and train teachers. I think that's a 2-for-1 too. You got armed trained teachers. Shit, not only do you deter mass shootings, you have better behaved kids. Because let's be honest, we love the kids, but a lot of these kids ain't shit. I don't know. You see some of these kids at school. I go to these schools now, man. I be thinking like, yeah, man, these teachers could use a 9mm in the damn desk and you ain't even got to threaten kids with it. It's just knowing that there's a motherfucker that can handle themselves with a weapon that just kind of reels the morale in. So I think it's a 2-for-1. You train the teachers. It doesn't make schools look like sitting ducks. And then naturally your kid is going to think like, damn, my teacher's strapped. I'm going to sit down, shut the fuck up, and do my work today. Modern problems require modern solutions. Today says teachers don't need guns. A lot of these teachers are fucking unstable because a lot of y'all kids. I don't think y'all really see these kids. It's easy to fucking shed a tear because we think, hey, man, these are children, and oh my God, kids are the future, and all that typical mentality that we have. But man, nah, a lot of these teachers be tripping and shit because they be doing this shit for a bunch of ungrateful, not raised properly, disrespectful ass, lazy kids. That's why teachers are really grossly underpaid, and a lot of the shit that they do, the best teachers, it comes out of their pocket for them to be able to provide the proper lessons and everything. Like the schools don't even take care of them on that front. Yeah, we have a real problem in our education system with how the way teachers is treated, how they're funded, and all that shit. Yeah, a lot of their problems is really dealing with our children. Telling you, they help reel it in. Shout out to Johnny Blaze. Let's see you over there doing your thing still. Make sure y'all go subscribe to John. I do believe in that too, Scott Free. Scott Free says retired Army vets and police should secure the schools. I totally agree with that. Hold on, y'all got to give me 1 second. All right. My bad. All right. So, yeah. And that's another thing, too. That's what I was going to say before I left. You would think schools would have more beefed up security. You just think they would. Like, you think of the type of events and everything that we have where they go out of their way for security. But these schools that, pretty much have innocent children and just teachers and elderly, just a whole spectrum of people, you would think schools would be better secured. And I think that idea where you hire vets and stuff like that, I think that takes care of another issue as well. A lot of the solutions to this problem are a lot of kind of two bird, one stone solutions, but it damn sure ain't gun control and taking guns away from citizens and leaving us sitting for these type of people in society. Man, yeah, homeschooling will always wrap that shit up, huh? Keep your kids home, teach them at home. That'll really dry up a lot of this shit. You got to come to my house and deal with whatever you got to deal with. That's a whole nother thing. I don't know. You should be hearing sound. Can y'all hear me? I don't know. The video's not playing if that's what you're talking about. Matter of fact, let me get that shit off of here. But yeah. Right, turn your shit up. Asatar. But yeah, man, salute to everybody coming through, man. I really wanted to speak on that and offer my condolences on one end, but the thing that got me was just the instant people making it about their agenda, or politicians making it about their agenda. We really have, and I remember the last video I was telling people about pretty much watching, especially with Black people, how we vote and making sure that we're getting the best deal when we're using our vote. And this is why, because the agenda, it never quite favors us as a voting group anyways. So you got to be able to see through all this shit. And you got to always be thinking like, man, how am I going to feed my family? How am I going to make money? How am I going to protect my family? And you really kind of got to vote, or, you know, even for yourself, regardless. But overall, you have to vote in your best interest. Or you have people, you vote people in like Biden who are real agenda driven, and has pretty much been throwing this fucking country away for the last 2 years. I'm honestly real surprised that we're still here, because I really thought Biden was going in the fucking world by now. I mean, the shit he got going on, it's just fucking crazy. See, I disrespect, but don't a lot of vets have PTSD? But yeah, I think even with that solution where he was talking about the vets, you know, you do have a lot with PTSD, but then that's why they have background checks and different health checks and everything and training and all that shit. So you can kind of weed through those guys like, hey, man, you got a lot going on. I don't think this is a job for you. You know what I'm saying? It's different things that they can do. You would just think that we would be more diligent about making sure that we're secured where we need to be secured, that our children is safe and all that shit. Because I'm telling you, taking away guns is not going to do anything. Motherfuckers would just start making their own bombs. Then what do? Do you start limiting supplies so people can't make their own explosives at home? Then if that don't work, then what do people do? They'll just say, oh, damn it, I'm just going to take my car and just race through the campus at whatever, 100 miles an hour or something. Then what do? You come down with car control? Yeah, we had those type of schools, but where they'd be worried about the students bringing the guns. Scott Free said that he went to a school where they had metal detectors, and they have schools. I think there's something like that out here in Vegas. I'm not sure. I know there'd be a lot of kids fucking bringing guns to school, but I'm just saying, I'm sorry. I think I got the best solution on that. And you train and arm these teachers, smooths a lot of this shit out. Better children, and it just doesn't look like an easy target for coward ass mass shooters. Can't beat it. Yeah. We do need term limits. Well, I mean, presidents have term limits. I think the term limit issue really comes when you start talking about Congress. That's why all these motherfuckers are in there 100 years old, still pushing old ass idea. That's why shit, that's another reason why shit don't change, is because a lot of the people that are up there, on one end you can look at it like they're still grandfathers and great grandfathers that are ultimately overall running the country. Right. I totally believe in being more conservative. I don't know. I think we're too liberal as a society now, and we're just way too optimistic. Like, society likes to operate in a way where we kind of like to move and make decisions based more off of how we wish things were, and not how they are and how they are going to be. And so this is why you have solutions or situations like this. And this is why I think my solution is necessary. Because in a perfect world, hell no, you wouldn't arm teachers. You wouldn't need to. But we're here, and this is what we were given. Got to arm the teachers. You got to strap them up. Yeah, Biden has been throwing away the country for 50 years, but yo, he's really putting in the overdrive these last two. This shit is terrible. And everything's up too. Everything, it's been an inflation on everything, even an inflation on mass shootings. Whew, ain't that a bitch? Man, this motherfucker's the king of inflation. Yeah, I don't know why they don't do that shit either, because that's a good place to start. Make sure these kids ain't fucking packing. These kids be doing the most. I don't know. I'm in Vegas and shit. We have a lot of shit happening. These kids bring guns to school. Like, you be seeing kids at school don't even be having goddamn backpacks, but they got a damn gun on them. Don't have a pencil to do no work. They got a gun tucked in their pants. This shit's fucking crazy. I'm totally for gun detectors or metal detectors and all that shit and security in school. That damn kids is out of hand now. Right. Right, exactly. It's way too much how you feel over facts. We see that in a number of different issues I ain't even gonna get into. How? Tanae says teachers with guns is a terrible idea. I could foresee so many accidents. I don't know. I have to disagree. I don't think it's that terrible idea. It's just like, you kind of, I don't know. I just think it solves so many fucking problems. I don't know. Maybe where you guys are at, I don't know where all of you are at. But when I go to the school, when my kids have some stuff going on, I see like a whole different, like, I could never imagine being a teacher modern day, like setting out to be a teacher if I didn't have a gun on me. These kids are so just and I know every generation says this, but I don't know. These new motherfuckers are different. They are different. I remember being a kid and we was wild and shit, and I'm sure our parents and grandparents, they would say, yeah, we was wild and it doesn't really change, but I don't know. These new age kids in general, is not worth the fucking trouble. Teachers do not get paid enough. I think teachers being trained on how to use their guns and doing what the hell they need to do, I just think it solves that issue of being a sitting duck for a mass shooting. But I think also knowing that your teacher is fucking kind of like a trained marksman a little bit, or they know their way around a pistol. I just think naturally that brings a calm. I'm not saying like teachers should be in the schools and shit, threaten to pull out on kids if they don't sit down and do their work. But I'm just saying like it brings a certain order. I don't even know if a lot of you if you're a gun owner and you ever just, open carried and walked around with your gun, the reaction in public is just different around you. The space around you is different. Like people aren't necessarily scared or taken aback, but people are like, okay. They just the space and the way people behave and respond is different. It really reels the morale in when you know that there's guns that can go off. I think guns are great. Don't necessarily think they need to be controlled. I think the problem with guns is not enough people have them. And by that, a lot of the time it's the fact that the right people don't have them. It's too many of the wrong people that always has them. But you can totally shift the balance of power. Start giving the rabbits guns. It is. Shout out to AG the Great. Good to see you in here. Right. You see what I'm saying? The whole thing with the Ukraine. Right. And that's what I be telling niggas, which was the difference with Trump. And I tried to give a few examples on the community tab, but it's an important, or it's very important that we start being more independent and America first. Because our politicians, they're shelling out millions, billions, trillions of our fucking tax dollars to everything else that has nothing to do with here. Meanwhile, we can't drive up the street without fucking up our goddamn tires. As you see in recent day, our schools are unprotected. Our schools are actually going to complete shit. It's almost pointless to goddamn send your kids to school. That shit is just pretty much ceremony. It's like a ceremony of life now. You get a certain age, your kids go through 12 years of schooling and shit to get their bullshit doctrines and all that shit. And then they're off into life. What's up, Desmond? See, shit, I just wanted to touch with y'all, see how y'all was feeling about the school shooting. I thought the shit was terrible, but I really got to speak on the spin that media always tries to put on everything. It's like, oh, we got them now. We got them by the heartstrings now. Let's start throwing in our little bit of agenda. I don't know if Tanae has. Do you have kids, Tanae? Because I don't know. I would just feel way more comfortable, I think. Because, you got to look at it like this. Think about how many kids or just how many teachers that we have. Also, like how she said, was, they're a little off or, they could be loose. We have teachers that are accused or found out to be sexually assaulting our kids and things of that nature. I don't know. It's no way that you can truly prevent, happenings like this, but you can, do your best, due diligence to ensure that you're hiring the best people for these jobs. And I think it's no different with guns. I think overall that would be more of a positive than it would be a negative. Like, I don't know if you're worried about, a teacher just being like, oh man, enough of this shit, and just spazzing out and shooting kids. But I just think the reason why that would be down is because students will behave knowing teachers got a blick in the desk. It's just a different energy when guns are around. I fucking promise you, that shit alone would probably raise our GPAs and across the board, our graduation rates and everything. Cause man, shit, I don't know. I mean, I'm old enough to remember, like, I used to live on the East Coast. Shit, your parents were able to sign forms, so your teacher could discipline you, and every teacher was different. Like, they used either like a ruler or maybe like a paddle and everything. But I still remember that, where you could get your ass whooped if you was cutting up in class. They totally taken away that whole what do you call it? I guess authority from teachers, because you got to understand, that's what you're doing when you're dropping your kids off at school. You are transferring authority, and they've really taken a lot of that away from teachers. So that's why I just say, like, a lot of it ain't worth it. But the motherfuckers allowed to have guns, whoo, would that reinforce their authority about 1,000%. That's way past signing a permission slip. And they wouldn't even have to do anything. Like, guns speak for themselves. So they don't even have to threaten your kid and shouldn't be all on some rah-rah shit with it. Guns speak for themselves. They just create a different energy. Guns are around, they're just, I don't know, people fall the fucking line. Right. Hey, man, take away guns and shit. These motherfuckers that do this type of shit be in your house. It's different now and shit, because, you don't know what the next motherfucker got. Implement gun control and take away people guns and see how hard it is to keep motherfuckers from kicking in your door. Motherfucking family gonna have to sleep in shifts. They take people's guns away. You ain't gonna be able to keep motherfuckers up out your house. It will be survival of the fucking fittest. Yeah, it's becoming too much culture here. Let's see, scot-free. Do I believe that social media plays a part in these mass shootings, like white supremacy and wrong information? Oh, man. I mean, I guess maybe it could, in a sense, depending on, like, maybe if the problem was started through social media or wrong. But I just think really people are just fucking evil, or some people are just evil. And I do think with the new social media age and with the influencers and all that shit kind of taking off, I think people have like more of a desire to maybe do something to put themselves in history, or do certain shit for attention, to kind of make themselves a legend in a sense. I do think social media plays into that, because you notice today with a lot of younger folks, they don't even really work through or really work for anything or set up to really step out and reach bigger goals, because now it's so easy to become an influencer and all that shit online. So maybe that could have a negative effect to where you're thinking like, okay, I'm not going to wait to get views on a video or this, and that, and third. I'm gonna make a fucking statement. I'm gonna go out here and really do something and shit. My face is gonna be on the news. I mean, I do believe that could be part of it, or maybe an actual thing. But ultimately, I just think some motherfuckers are evil. Some people do stupid shit. And I also think when a lot of this shit starts happening, and then all of a sudden you see an increase of political jargon around these topics, I also kind of think a lot of this shit be planned. Like, I almost don't believe anything that happens in the news because it's always attached to an agenda. It's not like, oh my God, this happened. And then we figure out how to heal as a society. We figure out how we can help these families and what can we do for our children. It ain't never that. It always goes automatically to some jerk's political agenda. Shout out to Desmond. Say live in Texas, have too many guns on the streets. Where I live, there's always a shooting every day. Like Chris Rock said, make bullets. Yeah. That motherfucker said, shit, if a bullet was $100 a fucking bullet, because that's the truth. Shit. I mean, guns, they cost enough. But shit, what really costs is keeping them motherfuckers loaded. Man, yeah, bullets was more expensive too. Yeah, maybe. Let's see. Horrific Mango. Shout out to you. I don't think I've ever seen you here, but I appreciate you coming through. He says most mass shooters are already suicidal. They just don't want to go out with a bang, or they just want to go out with a bang. A final middle finger to this world, so to speak. They know they're going to die in a shootout or that ain't true, because a lot of the white mass shooters seem to make it just fine. More time than not. I don't know. It seems like more celebrity and notoriety comes with mass shootings, especially if you're white. Shit, they gave the one mass shooter, they had that motherfucker sitting in the backseat uncuffed, eating, and got him Burger King. Imagine that shit. Black people, our fucking hearts jumping out our chests over routine traffic stops. Imagine fucking being a mass shooter and being able to get Burger King on the way to the precinct. That's the world we live in. Yeah, and that happens too, scot-free. But I mean, that makes sense. Like I said, that goes back to what I was saying about fucking kids. I mean, it's easy to assume like, oh my God, the kids are our future and shit. But a lot of these kids are, they're a little bit off. Shit, I remember being made fun of in school and shit and all that shit. That shit was wild to me. I had a friend on Facebook. She made a point that like a lot of this shit don't really happen back east too, which was interesting thinking about that, because back east that really wasn't common, like to be kind of drilled and constantly picked on for shit not really in your control. When I moved out west to like California and Vegas, like I just noticed like kids were different. Kids was really spoiled, superficial as fuck. This thing about name brands was a whole fucking thing. Like, so yeah, man, I totally get that aspect. But see, they would use a situation like that to where that's really a situation of, okay, what kind of people are we fucking raising? To where kids are bullying a kid enough to where he feels he has to come back to school and air that bitch out because he's tired of getting fucked with. What type of people are we raising to put that type of emotional pressure on a kid to make another kid do that? Nope, they'll spin that and be like, oh, this is why we need gun control. No, it's the people. We have a people problem. The way we're coming up, our ideals, our values. I'm not really a Bible thumper, but I understand the values and everything that, different, I guess, religious things instill in people. There's values that come, and the further we get away from just those values of decency, you're going to see an increase in this. And like I said earlier, where this is why you have to be more conservative. You can't just be so liberal and free flowing on everything. Yep. Yeah, no, I was just saying, horrific mango. I get what you're saying because you're thinking like they don't see the value, but that's the thing. The fact that they don't have a value for themselves, maybe they're suicidal, whatever their reason is. The problem to me is that we're just all kind of sitting ducks for those type of people. That's cool. If they want to go out, arm the fucking teachers and shit and help send them out with a fucking bang. I mean, you be as suicidal as you want, and you can want to go out with a bang, but man, you shouldn't just feel so comfortable. Nobody should feel so comfortable to just know that they're just going to walk into space and just get away with that shit en masse. And that's what I think a lot of it is. I think a lot of mass shootings, yeah, they want a statement. They maybe be ready to go. They may want attention, whatever the fuck the reason is, but ultimately I think it's very cowardice. Because you're not going to go into an armed crack house and make a statement. You're not going to go onto a military base and try to make a statement. No, you're going to go to where weakness or perceived weakness is seen. Yeah, I think that's such a common thing, Desmond. I think that shit is real common. I think kids getting bullied in school, and then, what they say, Pearl Jam had the song Jeremy. I don't know if y'all remember that shit. It's a classic, but yeah, there's a lot of Jeremys out there. See, but at the end of the day, one thing that every political group, race, and community can agree on is that this country is in need of serious healing. Man, a lot of fucking healing. Like, we've just gotten so far fucking left. We can't agree to disagree. We can't agree to agree. It's too much need for everybody to be uniform and think like this, walk like this, talk a certain way, believe certain things, or we're canceling people. Yeah, man. Yeah, we can totally agree there. Scott Free says, I believe these kids nowadays are socially awkward. You don't see kids anymore jumping rope, playing tag, getting dirty. They're basically on their tablets and phones, no human interaction. That, I believe, is somebody asked earlier about, social media and all that stuff. That's the thing. And that's where I believe the internet comes in, and it is really a problem because it's reinvented basic human traits. It's changed the way that we do simple shit like interacting with each other. Think about it. Like, most of the time now, when you talk to somebody, even if you meet like a new girl or something, you have a better chance of initiating communication online on some social media site of some sort before you would out in public. Kids you don't even see. I remember you used to see kids on the basketball court. Like, that used to be a thing. Like, this kids going out to play basketball. Now, if you turn on 2K, they got this shit so real. It's a playground experience on the 2K. And your kids will sit up in here playing park basketball with created characters on 2K. And it's the same thing. Like they'll be, look, I swear I'm not bullshit. I don't know a lot of you play 2K or you got kids, but these motherfuckers will really be sitting there and they'll call next. It ain't even like an instant thing. It's just like going to the park, but it's virtual. And they'll be sitting there with their controller with next, walking around in circles, waiting, watching the next game and all that shit. Like, yeah, I really do believe that that's where social media and that influence really is fucked people over, because then it's made us awkwardly comfortable with certain things, and even how we interact with people. A lot of people are tend to be a lot more rude. It desensitizes people. What's that? POD, Youth of the Nation? I'm gonna have to check that out. You're definitely raising soft ass sensitive kids, though. Definitely agree with that. You just got to think of the fact that we're to the point to where we're telling kids that they can choose their gender. And then we wonder what the problem is when we really look to society and the things that we need to make society grow, flourish, keep going. And then you realize you got a bunch of men that don't want to be men, and you got a bunch of women that don't want to be women. And it's not about equality with men and women. It's about balance. Right, AG the Great. No, that shit tripped me the fuck out. I just have to look at my son sometimes like, yo, I was like, this NBA 2K, my player shit, that shit don't translate to the real court when you need to try to make the basketball team for school. These motherfuckers really be sitting on there living life on the damn game. Yeah, it's totally fucking changed. You think that? I think the thing with the internet, yet again, we coming back to that. The thing with that is there's so much information on the internet. There's so many ways to even get guns on the internet. You can watch training and shit. So a lot of the time it may not even be the parents' fault, unless usually like parents that are training their kids to use guns. I don't know, from what I've seen, they're usually more respectful about it, like they're doing it the right way. But like a lot of people like this guy, like the 18-year-old that just did the shooting in Texas, like people like that, man, they know how to get online and find this different shit, learn how to hold and aim a gun. And really, if you're doing a mass shooting, you really don't need to know how to hold a damn gun. You just need to know how to hold it good enough to pull the trigger and let it do what it does. Because it really doesn't even matter at that point. Like, you're just fucking whacked out of your damn mind. It's crazy. It's just really unfortunate. We're just really in unfortunate times, and everything is too political. It's just not enough logic. It's like really nobody's thinking. Sometimes you got to think out of the box. I agree. I think my solution is completely out of the fucking box. Naturally, you would think, fuck no, but it's just like, we're not thinking. We're reacting off of fear. And we have to get away from that, man. We really have to bring logic back. Truth, really dealing with things in a sensible manner back. We really gotten to the point to, especially, we really depend on these politicians and the government too much. They're always on their media machines, and they're always trying to tell us what to think, how we should handle anything, how we should wait on them. Understand, we're at a point now to where our baby formula is an import for American factories. That's how far we've been falling under this whole Biden thing. We were more energy dependent 3-4 years ago. There was more benefits for new, business owners, entrepreneurs, and so on. And now we regress to the point to where our baby formula is an import. I mean, man. Yep, even that ass whoopings I think are needed. I had a conversation with somebody on that about corporal punishment, and I think the problem with that, and I was just saying earlier, like how you used to have to sign off in school, so your kid could get their ass whooped at school. And I think people really miss the lessons in corporal punishment. They just look at it like it's abuse. That's how sensitive and soft people are now. They just, oh man, you hit a kid, it's abuse. Oh my God. I mean, nah. You gotta whoop ass. I'm a firm believer in kicking your kid's ass. Right. Exactly what I was saying. You don't even need no fucking aim. You just need to be able to hold that shit. And even then, as long as you ain't hitting yourself, you really don't even need to know how to do that. Oh no, I know, Scott. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying anybody here whoops their kid or anything, but I totally understand the difference between discipline and abuse. I think ass whoopings are necessary at a point, but I think also you have to be able to communicate to your kid. And that's usually like the problem where you kind of do borderline the abuse because you're not teaching. Some parents may, whoop their kid and discipline their kid once they reach a point of anger. They're not showing the lesson in the ass whooping. Yeah, that was all I was saying. But yeah, man. Shit, I appreciate y'all stopping through and shit for a minute. I just wanted to get my take on that. Definitely. Man, I remember back in like elementary school, you had teachers, they were known for their skills with the sticks. I had a teacher that was so cold. She was good with the ruler. She wouldn't use the paddle or the stick. She was just good with the ruler. She'd be like, give me your hand. She'd tear your ass up. She was good. I don't know how she did that shit with the ruler so fucking hard. But man, she was fucking skilled. But that's what I'm saying. That's part of the problem now is a lot of teachers don't even have authority in any sense of the word. If you go to a lot of these schools and just watch how these kids act, and I hate to say it, but man, our young sisters, whoo, man, you go watch how these kids act in school, and you'll definitely see why back in the 80s, they had corporal punishment in school. Now we be surprised every time we see a video of a teacher popping up and he kicking a kid's ass. Like, yo, man, I'm telling you, a lot of these kids are full of shit. Right, Americans. Right. I'm telling you, it was different. Teachers didn't have to play with your ass back then. In the 80s, I don't even know when they stopped that. But I know, man, they didn't even play with your ass. Because we understood transfer of authority. We've gotten away from so much of that shit now. And it's just, it's just showing. The softer that we go, the more liberal that we go in our ideology, you just see it. You just see society deteriorating. Yeah. I'd even be willing to start there, actually, before I get out of there. Shit, let's just bring back corporal punishment in school. If your kids knew that they was gonna get their ass towed up for fucking up, it would just change the shit. But then I don't know, because these new kids, shit, you mess around and get called, and then you get whooped in front of the class, and next thing you know, the kids are coming back with the gun. But then I don't know, maybe if you put the metal detectors back, like old dude was saying, then maybe that knows that problem too. So yeah, I don't know. Definitely think teachers need their authority back in one fashion or another, though. That too. I noticed that with my kids. School is always fucking out. They be getting all kinds of weeks off and 3-day weekends now. That shit was never like that. Seemed like we were always in goddamn school back when I was a kid. Shit, them 3-day weekends just to come around rarely when I was a damn kid. Now these motherfuckers always home. You're like, what the fuck you doing here? Get out of here. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments. I appreciate you guys coming through, seeing some new faces. I think if you haven't already, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That'll let you know when I'm on here or when I'm on here with my team and we giving y'all that grease. And yeah, till next time, y'all be safe, take care of each other, and I'm out.
Trying to be crying to every guy you see. Game that usually work on them lanes, but you can't lie to me. Living in irony, truth but not entirely. Beauty skin deep and you only deep as the eye can see. Doing what's manual, stack my chips on the annual, but you average your best and that's word to Kevin Samuels. Now what's your predicate? Strong but still delicate. Offering package deal, but with me, what's the relevance? Can have anyone instead of you. Get some sense what you better do. Expecting me to change when I'm 30 steps up ahead of you. Lot of lines been fed to you. Hold up your scarlet letter too. And since you know better, I think it's time you do better, boo. It's acceptable when the moment with no opponent. Knowing you really want it is magical if you own it. You dying to get a cut, I'm dying to get a nut. So keep your good lies, cause I'm buying no matter what.